What is going on, world? What's up, YouTube? It's Zero here. Today I'm bringing you guys a brand new episode of the 8 Below Show. Welcome everyone to 8 Below, the best gaming related show here on YouTube. And we have a ton of stuff to talk about in today's episode, so let's get into it. So in our first segment of the show, guys, I wanted to talk about Squid Grip. I don't know if you guys remember Squid Grip. I actually have Squid Grip on my very first Xbox One controller, my day one controller that I was using when the Xbox One first came out. And Squid Grip back then was actually quite popular. Quite a number of people were using it. And then there was all kinds of other companies that started coming into the fray, so to speak, coming into this sector of gaming. And all in all, Squid Grip, guys, for what it was one of the most popular at the time, if not the most popular, high-performance Xbox and PlayStation controller grip for, of course, for controllers. And I think that a lot of people absolutely loved this grip. And, obviously it cost about $14.99 at the time to actually get these grips. And to be honest with you guys, they actually worked absolutely tremendously. I loved it. I thought it was great because when you're playing on Xbox or playing on PlayStation, a lot of times your hands do get sweaty over time. So getting some kind of controller grip was very good, especially in those early days. I know there's a lot of other, technology being used now to make sure that if you sweat, it doesn't really affect you much. But what happened to Squid Grip, guys? If we go on their Twitter account, you can look and see that they stopped tweeting, guys, in 2017. So, over 3 years ago, I guess you could, pretty much 3 years ago, they stopped tweeting completely. And they said, thank you all for the support over the years. You are the best. And they also tweeted out, I love you all. So I'm wondering if Squid Grip was actually run by only one person or by a very small group of people. Because what's interesting is they posted the I love you all, hashtag never forget, hashtag stop naked controller abuse. And then they tweeted, thank you for all the support over the years. You were the best. And that was in 2017. But the I love you all and the goodbye tweet was actually in December of 2016. So it was a long time, guys. And it's very strange. I came across this as a part of my recommended tab on Twitter. And I was like, man, Squid Grip's awesome. I wonder if I can still get some, get Squid Grip again for my current controllers, which I have a couple of other Xbox controllers that I'm like, you know what, I would definitely buy Squid Grip again. Well, anyway, I obviously was trying to find a place where I could buy Squid Grip, and I guess you can get it still to this day on Amazon. And that's what's really interesting, guys, is that you can still buy it on Amazon. Now, it's a little bit cheaper than it used to be. It was $14.99 back when I bought it, and now it's like $9.99 brand new on Amazon. So it is on Amazon. But all in all, guys, what happened to this company? Like, why did it all of a sudden just, disappear out of nowhere? They had over 100,000 followers, guys, and I really think that the answer can be given quite simply with Squid Grip. And it has nothing to do with their product or anything along those lines. But I think the problem with Squid Grip was that they, as a company, failed to evolve with time. I also found, guys, Control Freak has performance grips now. And so Control Freak, obviously, guys, also have, there's custom, you can do have those add-ons to your thumbsticks on the controllers, and that was really great, especially for trick shotters back in Call of Duty, and also just for really anyone. I mean, they're amazing. I have them on my controller currently, and Control Freaks are great, right? Well, what Control Freak did that it seems that Squid Grip failed to do was evolve with time. They didn't just stick with having, the Control Freak thumbstick add-ons. They also started adding performance grips for Xbox One and PlayStation. And so once you start seeing that there were other companies getting into the space and kind of starting to take some of those revenues from Squid Grip. And, I mean, when you really think about it, guys, I think Squid Grip just over time were not able to compete with companies like Control Freak, because so many people were going to Control Freak for one thing, but then they would see, oh, they also have performance grips. And then even Scuff Gaming and some of these other companies are starting to come out with different kinds of, hand gels and stuff to make it so that you have like anti-sweat gels and other performance grips and such. So I think what really happened to Squid Grip, and it's really unfortunate, guys, because I thought that this was a great company. I loved the logo. I loved everything about it. I really felt that they could have evolved with time. I just think that they kind of failed to really evolve from just being just having the controller grips and not evolving to maybe what Control Freak was doing, or started, a whole line of other stuff that they could have offered people, because they did have a pretty a nice following, and it's really, really unfortunate, guys. I would love to hear from you guys. You guys have any stories about Squid Grip, or what you guys like? What controller grip companies do you guys use currently? Do you guys use one? Have you used Squid Grip in the past? I think it's a real great question, guys, because when I used Squid Grip, it was absolutely incredible. Now, there was one downside to it. I felt that once you put the Squid Grip on one controller, it was not really reusable. Like, you couldn't take it off and then put it on another one. It left such a mess and stuff. So really, if you were to put it on one controller, you would just want to leave it on that one controller for forever, really. That was kind of the one problem I found with Squid Grip. I think if they would have ended up doing, making it a little bit more easier to either clamp onto the controllers, and then you could have the grip on there. And I know Scuff Gaming's been doing stuff like that, but like I said, guys, it's really sad that Squid Grip's gone, and some of those older companies are kind of gone from the gaming scene. But I'm sure that they were able to make a good amount of profit when Squid Grip was around, guys, before they ended up having to close up shop. But like I said, I would love to hear your guys' comments on Squid Grip and just controller grip in general. What do you guys think about it? Do you think that it actually helps? Do you think that it's just a myth or something that doesn't help? I know it helps me personally, but I would love to hear from all of you guys. What do you guys think in the comment section below? Let's have a real conversation about it. A game that I am very excited about, that has been building in buzz for quite some time, guys, is Metroid Prime and the return of this franchise. Something that I've been kind of waiting for quite some time, and a very fun, exciting game, guys, that I think a lot of people are really excited about. So let's talk about everything we know so far about the game. So according to Wikipedia, guys, Metroid Prime 4 is an upcoming action-adventure game developed by Retro Studios and published by Nintendo for the Nintendo Switch. The game is part of the Metroid series and the sequel to Metroid Prime 3 Corruption, which was in 2007. Guys, just take that into consideration for 1 second. 2007 was the last Metroid Prime, main continuation of the story. Just main continuation of this franchise. How crazy is that? It's been so long, guys. It was announced at E3 2017 during Nintendo's online showcase, and it was initially to be developed by Bandai Namco Studios in Singapore. However, in January 2019, the game's development restarted under Retro Studios with producer Kensuke Tanabe. So, it's unreal, guys, when you really kind of think about it, how long it's been since this franchise has kind of been in a limbo state, like a place where we just have not heard anything about it, and kind of what is going on with this franchise at this point. I mean, it's absolutely crazy. There's no talks of, there hadn't been any talks for so long. People were wondering, where is Metroid Prime 4, or a continuation of the story and franchise? And finally, guys, it's coming. So, in an article that was written by, of course, by Tech Radar, Emma Boyle from Tech Radar, It's been 10 years since the last Metroid Prime game, so to say fans are hungry for more Samus would be an understatement. Then finally, during its E3 2017 livestream, Nintendo announced a brand new Metroid Prime game is coming to Nintendo Switch. But that's all we got, an announcement that included a logo for the new Metroid Prime and little else. No release date, no developer information, no footage, nothing. So that is something that a lot of people are kind of interested about, to see what this game is going to look like. In January 2019, fans were disappointed to learn that Metroid Prime 4 is probably going to be a while off, as Nintendo scrapped the project and decided to start again with the help of Retro Studios. So, regardless of the extra wait time, we're excited to see Metroid Prime 4 on the Nintendo Switch whenever that will be. So here is everything that we know so far. Now, we know that it'll be on Nintendo Switch, guys, and that's pretty much where it'll be at this point. We have no idea when we're going to be able to play it. And the release date, we weren't quite sure when Metroid Prime 4 would release, but now we know it definitely won't be for a while, as Nintendo announced in January 2019 that it had scrapped the project and started again with help from Retro Studios. So I'm wondering how much of a development hell this has been for Metroid Prime 4, because when you think about it, it's like, okay, so it got completely scrapped. I mean, how far along were they with Bandai Namco before they scrapped it in January 2019? I mean, that is crazy. I mean, I'm thinking that they were probably pretty far along, I would think. Maybe they were in the very early beginnings of it, but I feel like they were probably, starting to move in a pretty, decent direction with development, and then all of a sudden just got completely scrapped in 2019. Now, with Retro Studios now running development, Metroid Prime 4 has got some fresh, big-name talent behind it, with the studio signing on some fresh talent. Johnny Junstead, the former art director at Studio DICE, is joining the team, having previously worked on Battlefield 5, Medal of Honor, the 2010 reboot, and Mirror's Edge Catalyst. He's being joined by Kyle Helfie, Halo character designer, and Stephen Dupre, who returns to Retro Studios, having previously been the lead designer on Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. There was no appearance at E3 2019. Obviously, Retro Studios is hiring currently for Metroid Prime 4. It was something of a shock when Nintendo announced that it would be starting from scratch on the development of Metroid Prime 4 with Retro Studios. The latest news from this new phase in the game's development is that Retro Studios is now hiring and looking to increase numbers on its development team. The roles are wide-ranging and all are based at the studio in Austin, Texas. These advertisements suggest the game is still in the early stages of development, so it could be sometime before we get any more solid updates on its progress. And I think that's probably an understatement. I mean, when you think about it, guys, obviously, we're probably not going to hear anything, because this game obviously got scrapped and it was started back up, let's just say January 2019, okay, that they were like restarting development. We probably won't hear anything until, I would say, we'll be lucky if we hear anything this year in 2020, but I would say maybe 2021, maybe even 2022 is when we're really going to start hearing a lot more about it. And then, of course, we'll probably be able to play the game and get your hands on it somewhere in like late 2021, maybe 2022, maybe even beyond that. It's really hard to say. So, back in January 2019, Nintendo revealed in a development update video that it scrapped the current project as it wasn't happy with the current progress. However, Nintendo still plans to reboot the project with help from original creators, obviously Retro Studios. This change will essentially mean restarting development from the beginning, so completion of the game will be delayed from our initial internal plan. Nintendo's senior managing executive officer, Shinya Takahashi, explains in the update video. We strongly recognize that this delay will come as a disappointment to the many fans who have been looking forward to the launch of Metroid Prime 4. So the story, there's so little Metroid Prime 4 information out there that piecing together the story is nigh impossible. What we will say is that Metroid Prime 3's ending didn't strike us as open enough for any kind of direct continuation. Those Samuses went into hyperspace, giving the opportunity for a sequel to enter a new world or a galaxy. We'd say the core story of the original trilogy is now closed. As far as gameplay goes, one thing we can be fairly confident is that, like other Prime games, Metroid Prime 4 is likely to be a first-person shooter. Other than that, we can't say what kind of gameplay changes will arise from either the new developer or the Switch platform. Me personally, I just want it to be, I really want this to feel fresh. I want it to feel really, I want it to feel like Metroid Prime, obviously. But I'm just excited, and I think the big thing is, guys, is that it seems like it's gone through development hell, which is always like a red flag in my book. However, they're starting from scratch. Obviously, they didn't like where they were at. I would have liked to see where they were at, especially if this game comes out and people don't like it. I'm going to really want to know what the other version of the game looked like with Bandai Namco. It's going to be really interesting, but something I would love to see, maybe an open world, a style of Metroid Prime. And I think, obviously with better enhanced graphics and things of that nature, we might be in for somewhat of a treat. Now, a more open world, like I said, as we said, this is a new start for Metroid Prime, which means room for changes. Though we're worried it could be a case of be careful what you wish for. We'd be interested to see the Metroid Prime games follow in the footsteps of Zelda and Mario to embrace a more open world format. The first 3 titles were already pretty big, but the Switch offers more scope. We think the Super Mario Odyssey approach of large interconnected worlds could translate well, and I agree 100% with that. I think it would work out well for this. Just as a new start is a chance for innovation, it's also a chance to welcome a new generation of Metroid fans. It's the same with any series that goes on for a long time. There's a certain amount of assumed knowledge and lore that makes coming in as a new player feel more like a chore than a joy. We'd love to see Metroid Prime 4 take a Monster Hunter World approach by retaining what makes it great while giving new players a way in. And then new weapons and abilities, I agree with this one. The Metroid series has some seriously cool weapons and abilities for Samus's armor, and we'd like to see more of them. By all means, bring back the classics, but bring a couple of exciting new upgrades to the table will make us feel like we're truly progressing in the game as well as the franchise as a whole. 100% agree. Bring in Sylix. Back in 2015, producer Kensuke Tanabe said that the ship at the end of Metroid Prime 3 actually contained Sylix, a hunter from Metroid Prime Hunters. Tanabe said that he'd like to create a Metroid game which featured both Sylix and Samus and explored their dynamic, something which we'd also like to see happen. The characters have an unexplored and potentially interesting history. It's known that Sylix isn't the biggest fan for Samus or the Federation, yet he uses a Federation weapon. That alone has us thinking he'd make an engaging villain for a new title. I think that would be pretty cool. But look, guys, even like if you go onto Amazon, you can actually pre-order this game already. $59.99, it's on here. You can pre-order the game at this very point. And obviously it says the item has not yet been released and you can pre-order it. And, I'm sure there are people that actually have probably already pre-ordered it, but I'm not going to pre-order my copy, guys, until I know for sure it's something that I'm going to want to play. And so I'm going to want to watch gameplay and trailers and things of that nature. That's what I usually do. And then kind of go from there. But I'm sure it's going to be something I'm going to want to play. But it'll be interesting to see how, with the new studio coming in and them being involved, how good is this game going to be? I think it could be really something special. But I would love to hear from you guys. What are you guys most excited to see about Metroid Prime 4? What are some new things you want to see? Some old things from the other games? Let me know in the comment section below. And for more Metroid Prime 4 content and videos, stay here with Zero TV. Recently, I talked about my YouTube channel and how YouTube has absolutely changed my life, guys. And I wanted to take an opportunity here in this segment of the show to talk about Twitch and how Twitch has, in my opinion, changed the gaming landscape for new gamers coming into the gaming scene, or people that are interested in getting involved in streaming and things of that nature. Twitch, guys, has really created incredible opportunities. And I want to talk about my Twitch channel and my experience on Twitch here with you guys, and just kind of my ventures with Twitch. It's a very interesting thing. There's a lot of pros and a lot of cons in my eyes to Twitch and YouTube, and not to really compare the two, but I'm going to be comparing the two as far as like a comparison as to, you know, workloads and things of that nature. So with Twitch, guys, I feel like this is a platform where you can get on there and it's a real grind. It really is. I mean, you have to put in a lot of time and a lot of effort, and you have to be very consistent with streaming on Twitch if you want to be able to make a living off of doing it. It's just I've always told people that don't do it for any purposes other than just having fun and playing games at first. And if it turns into something more than that, then you can take it more seriously. And so for me with Twitch, it's been more of just something that's just fun. It's fun. I mean, YouTube is fun for me as well. Like YouTube and Twitch are just fun. I love playing games in front of, you know, in front of people and viewers, and having real conversations with you guys. And for those of you guys who are new, who would love to connect with me in other ways other than YouTube, you guys can check me out on Twitch. That's twitch.tv/0_TV. Now, what I'll say though, guys, is that some of the differences I've noticed with Twitch and YouTube is that YouTube is one of those things where it's kind of more of a long-term ordeal, where I see with YouTube, if I, like for example, this video that I'm making for you guys right now, and which is a part of this show, this is something that can get views for a long period of time. Like like over time, it can consistently be getting views, right? Whereas with Twitch, you're getting viewers based on being live. So it's two completely different ways in which that you're acquiring viewers and viewership. That being said, though, with Twitch is changing the gaming landscape as we know it, because it's opening up potential, like gaming potential for people. Like new gamers are getting massive amounts of potential and opportunity on Twitch. Now, sure, Twitch and YouTube and all these places there's significant competition, but I think what Twitch is doing really well is they're kind of sticking to what they do well, which is, of course, streaming. I think that they need to get more into content creation at some point or another. And YouTube already is getting into streaming. And they're also, of course, the kings of content. So I think that Twitch, though, has such a loyal following of people that are there with streaming. And for me, you know, I've just been on Twitch for a period of time, and that's where I've always streamed. So I never really thought about streaming elsewhere. Now, there have been, you know, times and obviously people out there that are getting really great deals and lucrative, you know, sponsorships and such to go to other platforms, whether that be YouTube, Mixer, you know, Twitch, whatever it might be. And I love that that is what's happening. I think what Ninja did by moving from Twitch to Mixer, it opened up gamers' potential, essentially. It opened up Pandora's box for us and other, you know, other streamers out there to kind of take their own path and their brand into their own hands. And it reminded me of a move like what LeBron has done for the NBA and for basketball. It was like he went from Cleveland to Miami, came back to Cleveland, and then went to LA. But what he did was everywhere he went, he was showing players that we are brands and we are going to be the ones pushing the league forward and such. And it feels like that's exactly what Ninja did. He made a power move, and all of these other creators, or really streamers, are moving from one place to the other and getting lucrative deals. So it's an amazing thing. But Twitch, guys, has really been doing a really good job at trying to shape the gaming landscape. Even though they've lost people, they've also gained some people. And I think all in all, they've done a really good job at keeping, you know, being kind of still on top even after everything that happened. They lost some of their biggest streamers in the world went over to Mixer, and some went to YouTube, and they were kind of left there. And obviously most people, though, that do stream, it's on Twitch. And so a lot of people aren't going to move to another platform, especially because they're going to be afraid about losing their following that they have on Twitch when they move over to another platform, unless they get a lucrative deal. And not everyone's going to get a lucrative deal. So I think Twitch is still, to this day and moving forward, is still going to be the king of streaming. But if they want to become the king of it all, they're going to have to get into content creation, or at least, kind of do that at some point. Now with YouTube, I think YouTube is really starting to take a lot from Twitch as far as viewership is concerned, because when you look at it, YouTube is already the biggest, content. When we talk about content and content creation, YouTube is the king of that, and it's not even close. They're also getting into streaming with YouTube gaming and such, and that is starting to build. And so it's one of those things. A lot of these creators may start moving over to YouTube because it's like, why not have all my stuff on YouTube? Because I'm a YouTuber, so I have all my stuff there as well as streaming and everything else just on YouTube. It's all easily accessible versus being on two different platforms, one for streaming, one for content creation. It's a big question, guys. But Twitch, guys, still leads the way. And I absolutely love Twitch. I love Twitch. I really do. I think it's a great platform. I think it's the best for streaming, in my personal opinion. YouTube's the best, obviously, for content creation, and it's not even close. So what Twitch has done for me is I think that there's a lot of potential there. Here's the problem for me, though, is when it comes to streaming, I don't have enough time to stream like that. That's like physically the only problem that I have with streaming on Twitch is that I choose making videos on YouTube over streaming. And, because I work a full-time job outside of YouTube and outside of Twitch and all that. I have a full-time job that's from 9 to 5. And so it's very difficult for me to find time after, spending time with family and doing other things, and then making a video or doing a show on YouTube. And then after that show, also trying to fit in a stream. It's very late by that time. And, so it makes it very challenging for me. Now, the weekends is a little bit easier, a little bit more flexible on the weekends. But that's the thing with Twitch that has been an issue for me. And that's why I really want Twitch to try to get more into the content creation side, where we can there's more emphasis on VODs and such on Twitch instead of it always being live. So that would be kind of my only request to Twitch at this point is, look, the platform is incredible, but for those of us who are trying to, have schedules and things of that nature, I think it's important that we're able to upload those VODs, after we download them, and even other videos that we would maybe want to upload onto Twitch. There's no way of monetizing that. There's no way of getting, any ad revenue or anything like that from Twitch other than when you are live. And so I think that there just needs to be less of an emphasis on always being live, even though I think that's very important, but kind of making it like more of a point, like, hey, like also start creating other types of content like VODs and things of that nature, and just regular videos that you can put on Twitch. I think that would be absolutely awesome. I think Twitch is going in the right direction of changing the gaming landscape as we know it, but I think that there's just things along the way that they need to do better moving forward. And I think the same for YouTube. I think the same for myself. I think the same for, Mixer. I think all of these things need to get better with time. And sometimes we just have to voice our opinion about those things, guys, and just state what we think may or may not need to change in order for the betterment. But that's not to say that they're not doing an incredible job. I'm not trying to put Twitch or YouTube or any of these platforms on blast. I'm just saying that, to make them even better, that would be my personal opinion. I want to hear your guys's, though, in the comment section below. What do you guys think about Twitch, kind of versus Mixer and YouTube and all of these different platforms? Where do you think it's going to shake up? But what do you think they need to do better moving forward as a platform. Let me know what you guys think, and for more content based around Twitch and talks like this, guys, stay here with Zero TV. A really exciting horror game that I haven't talked about yet on the YouTube channel is Dead by Daylight. This is a game, guys, that reminds me a lot of what Evolve was supposed to be, and kind of a somewhat of a, not rip-off off of that game, because obviously that wasn't really a horror game, but that kind of asymmetric survival type game between, you know, the monster versus the humans, right? And you're trying to figure out ways to escape and things of that nature. Well, this game is similar kind of to that, but in a horror element, and absolutely way more successful. So where is Dead by Daylight 2 at this point? Because as at this point, there's things that people love about Dead by Daylight, but there's also things that people don't really like about it, whether that be the graphics, whether it be bugs and things of that nature. Let's talk about Dead by Daylight 2. And I want to talk about this, guys, and I want to get some real conversation with all of you guys going about it. Is this a game that is going to come out at some point in the future? Because we really haven't heard much at all about a Dead by Daylight 2, when we all know that this was a game, Dead by Daylight, released, right, in 2016 on Microsoft Windows, and then of course came to PlayStation 4 and Xbox One in June of 2017, so a year later it was released. And it's interesting because Starbreeze Studios were the initial publishers, but now Behavior Interactive, they became the game's publisher because they acquired the publishing rights in January of 2018. I think they've done a really good job, by the way, but here's what I want to talk about with this, because there's going to be a mobile port is scheduled to be released on iOS and Android later in 2020. So it's almost like this is a game that is still consistently trying to almost evolve as we go, and is kind of going to more and more platforms, and that being like the Nintendo Switch. It came out on September 24th, 2019. It went there. So it's very interesting, to say the least, how this game's gone. What I love about it, though, is they had, alongside a handful of original characters, the game also includes downloadable characters from several horror franchises such as Halloween, Left 4 Dead, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, A Nightmare on Elm Street, Saw, Evil Dead, Scream, and Stranger Things. And I just think that's awesome that Dead by Daylight was able to get all these, partnerships and things of that nature, and work out deals where they were able to use some of these characters from those franchises. That's amazing. Well, here's the thing, guys. It's been a little while since this game first came out, and I think that what we can all agree on is that a sequel might not be a bad idea. As far as the sales are concerned, as of May 2019, the game sold more than 5 million copies. So 5 million copies, guys, it sold. So a ton of copies it sold. That's number one. It's like for a new IP. And then on top of that, it received mixed or average reviews according to review aggregator Metacritic. GameSpot awarded it a 6 out of 10, saying Dead by Daylight executes the concept of a competitive horror game well, but only to a point. And so this is how I feel a lot of people feel about Dead by Daylight. They think it's a great concept. It's got, really cool ideas involved, and it's got some really cool downloadable content. And it sold a lot of copies, so it is popular. But there's a big but there. And I think that people would be open to this idea of a second game. Now, I went on Steam, guys, and Dead by Daylight 2 forum thread kind of showed up in a general discussion for Dead by Daylight. And Kakos, he posted a message in here, and I thought it was quite interesting. He says, firstly, I know this game has been running like a service, and so long as they support this game, they cannot add too many more features to a sequel, but I think a sequel would be amazing. The first thing I would like to see in a sequel would be some changes to the fundamentals of the gameplay, reduce the reliance on loops and pallets, and make the gameplay more dynamic somehow. I'm not quite sure how to do that at the moment, but changing up the gameplay would be a must for a sequel. Improve graphics, other basic stuff. Dead by Daylight already looks decent. I'm not ragging on its graphics, but imagine if it looked amazing with amazing lighting and stuff. You know what? What if the improved lighting contributed to a new gameplay style? Just a thought. There could also be better sound and stuff too, just things to really make the game impressive. And I agree with that. Like, I think that there's only so much that they would be able to do with the sequel. But here's the thing, guys. I've been such a huge advocate of someone who consistently is talking about ways in which we can make or publishers and developers can make games like a bigger package, right? So like, for example, having more than just multiplayer, or if you're going to have multiplayer, have the normal multiplayer mode, but also having other multiplayer modes might actually be a really cool idea. Having a story mode, having co-op modes and things of that nature to make it more of a full package, I think is really important too. Something also to think about if we're talking about a sequel for Dead by Daylight. Should the old killers and survivors return? I don't know. On one hand, it's been great to see them again and would easily add to the game content, but maybe they wouldn't fit with an alter game style. Maybe they could come back but revamped and remastered. To add on that, I don't know if every character should have every teachable. Having exclusive perks would lead to a more refined and balanced experience, but could also be unfun if your favorite character didn't have the perks you wanted. If teachable return, though, I think they should be obtained faster. They take so long to obtain and can sometimes be essential for a build. Overall, I think a sequel could really refine Dead by Daylight and fix many of the gameplay's problems, as well as adding many quality of life features like better graphics. What do you guys think? So, that last statement, quality of life features like better graphics and stuff, fix, some of the gameplay problems. I mean, I think that's all doable, and I think that would be great for this game, and I think a sequel would be great for the franchise. Now, here's the thing. There's nowhere that's stating that this is a game that's in development. There's no one stating that this is a game that is going to, that there's going to be a sequel at any point in the future. But I feel like with the success of the first one, there's a need and a want for more Dead by Daylight. I mean, I think it's just clear. Now, I think all of us want to see a sequel, but I think there's things that we want added. And I mean, I agree with a lot of what Keiko said. I just think, personally, guys, I love full package deals. I like having a multiplayer experience, but I also like having a campaign. I also like having, co-op modes and other modes that you can play other than just, one mode. Look, my biggest issue with Battle Royales, for the most part, were the fact that it was just that. All it was playing on one map and playing it multiple different ways that you could, and kind of the RNG elements of it. I mean, it's cool, but at the same time, guys, when you really think about it, it's cool to have other game modes. And I know games like Fortnite have added other game modes to it, but it's all still on one map, right? It's cool to have different maps. It's cool to have smaller maps, bigger maps, and things of that nature. And I'm not saying to go totally away from the Dead by Daylight formula, because it works and people love it, but maybe just add more to the game. That would be something I would really be interested in. But let me know what you guys think about a Dead by Daylight 2. Where's this game at this point? I think this is a game that might actually be in development, potentially. Might be a game that we see in the next couple of years. Or if it's not in development, I think we as a community need to voice that we want a sequel if that's what we want. So let me know in the comment section below, guys. And for more Dead by Daylight 2 videos and content, stay here with Zero TV. And with that being said, everyone, I hope you guys did enjoy this episode of the 8 Below Show. And if you guys did, leave a thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, stay positive, and as always, I'll talk to you guys all in the next one. Peace.